Salt has always been a major player in many aspects of our life. Salt has played a part in global trade, economic sanctions, war, the growth of cities, and political control of regions. One of the ways to produce salt is by burning wood to boil out the water in brine solutions, and this helped deforest many parts of Europe. In Austria forests, they were cut down for fuel for the salt works, which caused soil erosion to wash sediment into the Tiber, causing the expansion of the delta at the river mouth. Centuries after Austria was no longer on the coast, the salt works had to be moved. This is one of the first examples of human industrial activity's impact on the environment, and this impact only continued. Salt allowed fishers to preserve their fish, so therefore European fishers came to the Grand Banks off of Newfoundland, which caused cod to become almost extinct in the 90s. In the Iron Age of Europe, people mined underground, creating tunnels and caverns, which caused many settlements to develop around these mines. The settlements eventually became very wealthy due to the salt economy. Some of these settlements include Salzburg, Hallstatt, Halling, LaSalle, Moselle, and all these names come from either the Greek word for salt, Hals, or the Latin word for salt, Sal. Some of those cities, salt is still a source of income. Some of the cities have salt mine tours, hollowed-out caverns that have new uses, like a dance hall or a chapel, and there's even a salt hotel. Salt helped develop many cities as well. In Rome, the Via Salaria was built to transport salt from the coast to Rome, and it remains one of the main thoroughfares today. Salt has been in trade since ancient civilizations. Ancient Egyptians traded for salt, which was needed for the mummification process, and salt has even helped spread religions. It helped spread Islam to the west coast of Africa. Berber caravans would cross the desert to Timbuktu, and whilst bringing salt, they also brought Islam with them. And in the Middle Ages, the Venetians waged war against neighboring coastal communities who threatened their salt production, and the British destroyed salt works along the New Jersey coast to maintain high salts in the U.S. Capturing salt was also considered a good war tactic, because without salt you were not able to survive. Halite has a much higher solubility than other minerals, and without this high solubility we would not have life, as life was developed in the oceans. In 1887, savant August Arrhenius proposed the idea of oppositely charged ions, which explains the structure and property of salts. Up until this point, scientists had no idea why salts could conduct electricity. And solid sodium chloride is composed of positive sodium ions and negative chloride ions, which are held together by the strong forces between the negative and positive charges. Water molecules have slightly positive and negative ends, which allows the sodium chloride to dissolve in water. The negative chloride ions are attracted to the positive water molecules, and this attraction is similar to the one between sodium and chloride, and the slightly positive ends surround the sodium, causing it to break away from the chlorine ions. The three main methods of salt production are evaporating seawater, boiling down solutions from brine springs, and mining rock salts. Solar evaporation of seawater is the most common method of salt production in tropical coastal regions, and seawater was originally just thrown onto burning coal, and the salts were scraped off. Salt was used in the past to preserve food, but now we can just use our refrigerators to preserve them. It was first used in Europe to preserve freshly caught fish. This allowed fishermen to travel further. Even if things were smoked instead of salted, the food was soaked in a brine solution before smoking it. Salt is needed for our body. Salt deprivation can cause weight loss, appetite loss, cramps, nausea, inertia, collapsing, and possible death. Salt maintains the electrolyte balance between our cells and the fluid surrounding them. Part of the process that generates electrical impulses that transmit along neurons in the nervous system requires sodium from salt. The part is called the sodium-potassium pump, and is when more sodium ions are forced out of a cell than potassium ions that are pumped into it. We also need the chloride ions from salt to produce hydrochloric acid, which is an essential part of the digestive juices in the stomach. Salt is also an essential part of many manufacturing processes. The production of sodium carbonate needs salt. Sodium carbonate is used for soap, and it is formed by the precipitate of sodium bicarbonate from a concentrated solution of brine infused with ammonia gas and carbon dioxide. Then sodium carbonate is produced by the heating of sodium bicarbonate. Sodium hydroxide is also high in demand, and it is used in the extraction of aluminum metal from its ore and the manufacturing of rayon, cellophane, soaps, detergents, petroleum products, paper, and pulp. It is produced by passing an electric current through a solution of sodium chloride. This process creates chlorine as well, which was discovered as a great disinfectant and bleach. Salt has played a major role in shaping everything around us today, and it still remains just as relevant even though the cost has drastically changed.